cuts, spending increases, all sorts of things that we like, the government's just putting it all on the national credit card. And as a result, our national debt is just going up and up and up. And it's growing faster than the economy, and that's when you know you have a real problem.
Everything is going to be squeezed out of the budget. There won't be anything left.
The road we're on is a perilous one that ultimately leads to the bankrupting of our country.
So we have a crisis on our hands.
All Congress has to do for this whole situation to come to a head is nothing. Because every year that they do nothing makes the problem even more unsolvable.
We don't seem to have the ability to get along and find common ground.
Is the government trying to trick you right now? And the answer is very simply yes.
So why is this being swept under the rug? Why is nobody talking about this?
Probably because it's not popular.
So I've actually been traveling around the country for about 4 years now, taking the Power Zero message to different groups.
When you cut taxes on current generations, you are simultaneously raising them on future generations.
It is all driven by spending. Once we have spent $1, we've already decided to tax it. The only question is whether we tax it now or we borrow it now and tax it in the future.
So to make up for the liabilities that we're incurring with all the promises we've made in social insurance programs, we're going to have to increase substantially the tax rate and perhaps even double it.
Now, precisely how high it's going to be, there's a lot of room to debate. People will have to pay more taxes.
People's retirement savings are at risk of future higher taxes.
Well, qualified plans really do two things. They defer the tax and the tax calculation. Now let that run past your brain real slow.
I'm driven by trying to help as many people as I can avoid this disaster that's going to come up in retirement when taxes go up and the market goes down. What are these people going to do if they haven't planned ahead of time?
Okay, so all these experts are reading the same music and they're singing the same song. They're saying if we don't change course right away as a country, that 10 years from now tax rates will have to rise dramatically when we go broke as a nation. Some of them even use the D word as it relates to the future of tax rates. Tax rates will have to double or we go broke as a nation. So the real question is not, am I too old to get to the 0% tax bracket? The real question should be, if 2030 rolls around and tax rates double, will you look back at the year 2023 and say, why did I not take advantage of tax rates while they were historically low? Because all tax rates have to do in the future is go up by 1% for the math here to make sense. The second question I get is, can I be in the 0% tax bracket and still be a good person? After all, if we're all in the 0% tax bracket, who's going to pay for the roads? Who's going to pay for the schools? Who's going to pay for the social programs? Well, first of all, are we suggesting that Mr. and Mrs. Jones here not pay tax? No, the cost of getting to the 0% tax bracket is you got to be willing to pay a tax. We're simply suggesting that when given the choice between paying taxes at today's historically low tax rates or postponing the payment of those taxes till some point much further down the road, you're probably better off paying them today. The last question I get is, hey Dave, how come I've never heard of this stuff before? And I would submit that your clients have heard of just about everything we've talked about today, maybe not quite in this combination, but they've heard of just about everything that we've talked about. The only thing that may be new for them is this idea of the LIRP, and all we're doing with the LIRP is the opposite of what most people do when it comes to life insurance. What do most people do when it comes to life insurance? They get as much death benefit as they can for as little money as possible. What do we call that kind of life insurance? Term. Here we're doing just the opposite. We're getting as little death benefit as the IRS requires of us. We're stuffing as much money into it as the IRS allows in an attempt to mimic all of the tax-free benefits of the Roth IRA without any of the limitations. Why else haven't you heard about this, or why haven't your clients heard about this? Well, you got to ask yourself how most major money management institutions make money. How do most major money management institutions make money? They charge you a fee. What's a typical fee? 1%. Call it 1%. So let's say they're managing $1 million of your dollars in the tax-deferred bucket. They charge you 1% per year. How much are they making off you per year? $10,000 per year. No big deal. That's how a lot of financial advisors, including me, get paid. Not a big deal, but here's the rub. If they were to persuade you that tax rates in the future are likely to be dramatically higher than they are today, you might just feel impressed to shift that money to tax-free. And when you shift it to tax-free, what are you going to have to pay along the way? taxes. Let's call it 30%. So you pay your 30% tax. Now you got $700,000 in your tax-free bucket. If they're still charging 1%, how much are they making off your per year now? $7,000. Didn't they just experience a pay cut for persuading you the tax rates in the future are likely to be dramatically higher than they are today? And for that reason alone, most major money management institutions don't want to touch this conversation with a 10-foot pole. Me personally, I don't care how much money you have. The only thing that matters to me is how much you actually get to spend after tax. That is the only number that really matters. All right, usually at this point,